Before you take Tesamorelin tonight, you need to hear this, because one of the most common dosing mistakes people make can actually make this peptide less effective and increase the side effect. And it comes down to one simple misunderstanding. Most people think more growth hormone equals better results. But with Tesamorelin, that strategy can completely backfire. In this video, I'm going to show you the actual dose used in clinical studies, the 3 different protocols depending on your goals, the biggest dosing mistake people make, and a real patient case study that lost 2 inches of his waist. But the most important part comes near the end, because I am going to explain when Tesamorelin is actually the wrong peptide for you. So make sure you stick around for that. Now, quick question before we start. If you're watching this, are you interested in Tesamorelin for fat loss, longevity, muscle prevention, or cognitive health? Comment 1, 2, 3, or 4 below. I'm curious to see what most people here are using it for. Now let's get into the science. First, we need to understand something important. Tesamorelin is not a growth hormone. It's a growth hormone releasing hormone analog, GnRH analog. This means it signals your pituitary gland to release your own growth hormone naturally. Think of it like this. Tesamorelin is not an engine. It's the key that starts the engine. And this distinction is critical, because the goal with peptides isn't to flood your body with hormones. The goal is simply to restore healthy pulses of growth hormones, which is exactly why dosing incorrectly can cause problems. And we'll talk about that mistake in a minute. So Tesamorelin is actually the active compound in a drug called Egrifta, which is FDA approved. It was originally approved to treat lipodystrophy in HIV patients, a condition where patients develop extreme visceral belly fat. Researchers gave this patient Tesamorelin for up to 2 years, and the results were pretty remarkable. Patient experienced significant reduction in visceral fat, improvement in sleep quality, increased lean muscle mass, better metabolic health markers. But here's where it gets interesting. Many of these patients also had fatty liver disease, severe muscle loss like sarcopenia, very low growth hormone signaling. By restoring the pathway, their metabolism began functioning more like it should. Here is something almost nobody talks about when discussing Tesamorelin. The dose you should take depends entirely on your goal, and most people are using the same protocol for a completely different outcome, which is why some people get amazing results and others feel like it did nothing. So let's break down the correct dosing strategies. In most clinical studies and longevity clinics, the standard Tesamorelin dose falls between 1.4 milligram and 2 milligram per day. Most provider uses it 5 days on and 2 days off. That cycling helps maintain natural hormone rhythm. But here is something important. Some people actually respond better to even lower dose, which is why blindly copying someone else's protocol can be a mistake. Now let's talk about the biggest mistake people make with Tesamorelin. They assume higher dose equals faster fat loss. But with growth hormone releasing peptides, that's not how physiology works. Your body already releases growth hormone in pulses. Tesamorelin simply amplifies these pulses. If you push it too hard, you can actually desensitize the signaling pathway. And once it's desensitized, instead of getting better results, you get diminishing returns, which is why strategic dosing beats aggressive dosing every single time. Now here is what you should check before using Tesamorelin. Before starting Tesamorelin, there are 2 things you absolutely need to look at. Number 1, your goals. Are you trying to reduce visceral fat, improve sleep and recovery, maintain lean muscle mass, or improve cognitive function? Because Tesamorelin can influence all of this. In fact, studies have shown it can increase BDNF, a brain growth factor linked to memory and learning. In men over 60 with mild cognitive impairment, researchers observed improved executive function, better verbal fluency, improved cognitive test scores. But that's only part of the equation. Number 2, your blood work. You need to look at your blood work. Before starting peptides, any peptides, you should look at the markers like IGF-1 level, blood glucose level, insulin sensitivity, fasting insulin level, liver enzymes. If your IGF-1 is already high, Tesamorelin may not be appropriate. And if your blood sugar is poorly controlled, that needs to be addressed first, because growth hormone will not work in a diabetic environment, because peptides works best when the metabolic foundation is solid. Let me give you a real life example. We had a patient in the clinic, 58-year-old patient, came in with the classic symptoms: low energy, poor sleep, increasing abdominal fat. His lab showed IGF-1 at 98, which is very low. His liver enzyme was elevated. His visceral fat on DEXA scan was very high. Ideally, we want IGF-1 closer to 200 to 250 depending on individual. So before starting peptide, we first worked on reducing alcohol, improving nutrition, stabilizing his blood sugar. Then he started Tesamorelin at 1.2 milligram nightly. Like, we actually fixed his metabolic stuff first before starting Tesamorelin. So his foundation started out good. After 6 weeks, his sleep improved, his energy returned, and he had already lost several pounds of fat. But the biggest change happened around 12 weeks. his waist circumference dropped 2 inches, which is significant. The weight doesn't matter. The circumference improved is the better improvement. His belt was looser, and his metabolic labs improved significantly. Now let's talk about the 3 most common protocol clinicians used. The first one is fat loss or visceral fat reduction. Typical dose is 1 to 2 milligram nightly. And frequency that I usually use for my patient is 5 days on and 2 days off. This is the most common protocol for reducing visceral belly fat. Now remember, make sure your metabolic function should have improved, like your foundation should be good. The next one is longevity or hormone optimization. Lower doses are often used for this protocol, typically 0.5 to 1 milligram nightly. This usually supports recovery, quality sleep, healthy hormone signaling without pushing IGF-1 too high. Third protocol is muscle preservation. Typical dosing 1 to 2 milligram nightly and must be combined with resistant training, adequate protein intake, proper sleep to help preserve lean muscle while reducing belly fat. And one more thing, calorie deficit. Sometimes clinicians also combine tesamorelin with other peptides. So let me give you some combination examples. The first one is tesamorelin with ipamorelin. This combination may enhance growth hormone pulsatility and improves recovery. Tesamorelin with GLP-1 like semaglutide or tirzepatide, often used when the goal is aggressive fat loss while preserving muscle. The next one is tesamorelin with BPC-157. This may support joint recovery, gut health, and injury healing. The biggest mistake people make with peptide is assuming more is better. But with growth hormone releasing peptides, the goal is simply to stimulate your body's natural hormone rhythm. So when used correctly, with proper labs, lifestyle changes, and the right protocol, tesamorelin can support fat loss, better sleep, recovery, and improves metabolic health. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button so YouTube pushes this video to more people trying to improve their health and learn the peptide protocols. And if you're interested in peptides, longevity, and metabolic optimization, make sure you are subscribed. And I want to hear from you. Have you tried tesamorelin yet? And what result did you see? Drop in the comment section and I'll see you in the next video.